Releasing in Japan in 1988, just one short year after the original, Final Fantasy II expanded upon the success of its predecessor, adding in an engaging storyline with a cast of interesting characters with actual backgrounds, a completely revamped leveling system, the introduction of chocobos, and of course, some fantastic music. In this video, I'll be sharing my 5 favorite tracks from Final Fantasy II, composed by none other than the legendary Nobuo Uematsu. Just a quick FYI, the music you'll be hearing is from the PS1 release of the game because I kinda just prefer it over the original. Without further ado, let's get to it. In the 5th spot, we have the fun and energetic Chocobo theme. This theme features a super catchy melody that keeps randomly getting stuck in my head, paired with a fun, offbeat guitar chord progression to support it. Now, this original version of the tune only has about half of the melody that I think most of us are familiar with at this point, but still, it's amazing how future games would go on to include this tune and extend it or place it in a different musical setting like jazz or electro, making it feel fresh and unique each and every time. An absolute staple of the series. Sitting in 4th place for me is the town theme. This plays in many of the towns you'll be visiting during Firion and Crew's adventure, and acts as a great theme to relax to and take a breather in between dungeons and world exploration. The relaxing guitar plays a huge part in making this tune feel so peaceful, and I don't know about you, but I get this sort of sleepy town vibe when I'm listening to it. Now, I have a confession to make here. I am a bit biased towards the guitar as a guitarist myself, but I'm really trying not to just pick the songs that have guitar in them, I swear. Anyways, pair that guitar with the beautiful flute melody and some string instrument accents that sort of just fill in the harmony, and this track is just perfect. In spot number 3, I've got the short but sweet Revivification. Try saying that a bunch of times. It's really easy to not pay this track any mind because it's so short, and as far as I know, you only really hear it at the start of the game when Hilda and Minwu are more or less reviving you, but it is absolutely gorgeous. There's a surprising amount of things going on in this track. It starts off with a voice singing a held high note, and then the harp comes in along with that super high-pitched bell-like note that's also held, and then finally a bell comes in and plays a bit of a melody to complete the whole tune. It builds up really nicely and comes together into such a peaceful track. It feels like a moment frozen in time, like all your worries can just melt away while listening to it, and I don't know how else to explain it. My second favorite track in this game is The Magician's Tower. This is such a cool piece, and it's completely different from the rest of the soundtrack. The frantic harpsichord playing just gives me creepy haunted castle vibes, and I think that's exactly what Uematsu was going for here. The track has so much energy, and those harpsichord chord strums that punctuate those 4 beats leading into the repeat and then the second section really drive the song forward. The second section adds in those strange sounding string instruments for the melody, and the harpsichord takes a backseat to just sort of support this new melody. Also, that little section before the complete repeat adds so much tension and just makes me feel uneasy, which was totally intended. It's a super cool track, and I almost gave it 1st place on this list if I'm being honest. Taking spot number 1 is the beautiful yet kind of sad main theme, which you'll hear whenever you're exploring the overworld. I've been sitting here writing this list while listening to this track, and I've gotta say, this song is on a whole other level compared to the rest. I initially had this in 3rd place, but I've had to rethink that completely. There's something profound about it, and it's really hard to say what exactly that is. It feels melancholic, and yet somehow makes me reminisce about when times were simpler as a kid, when I could allow myself to be completely engrossed in a video game without having the external stress of being an adult and everything that entails in the back of my mind. I wasn't even born when Final Fantasy II came out, and yet this song is still conveying that feeling to me. It's remarkable. The song is split into two contrasting sections, the first one having the main melody on a flute in a minor key, which is associated with sadness, accompanied by what sounds like an oboe playing a descending line of ascending arpeggios. I suspect that the descending oboe bass line is the unsung hero of this track, making the magic happen, so to speak. Then in the second half of the melody, the guitar comes in and replaces that oboe, and it's accompanied by a string section and a bass, and the whole thing just sounds so much fuller. The melody, still played on a flute, adds in a hint of hope this time around, and it's just, wow. Absolutely incredible. The whole piece is amazing, and that's why it deserves the top spot for me. My honorable mention goes to Temptation of the Princess. Now, if I'm being completely honest, this could have definitely been higher up on the list because it's a beautiful piece, but there's one major flaw about it that made me not want to include it. Are you ready? Here goes. It's not an original. The main melody is 100% borrowed, stolen, referencing, look, you can call it whatever you want. It's taken from Peter Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake Ballet. I mean, here, just listen to this. It's incredibly obvious, and I don't think Uematsu was trying to get away with it or anything. I think he just wanted to include it for some reason. Maybe he too really likes Swan Lake. And just to be clear, I still really like it and I'm glad it's part of the soundtrack. I'm a sucker for musical reference, so I say bring him on. In any case, it's a beautiful piece of music, just not really a Final Fantasy original. Narrowing down my list of 5 songs was already a difficult task for Final Fantasy II. I can't imagine how hard it's going to be once I reach games like Final Fantasy VII that have gigantic soundtracks to choose from. If you enjoyed your time watching this, please leave a like to help me out with the algorithm, and if you feel like I've earned your sub, that would be absolutely amazing and make my day. One last question before I go. What are your top 5 Final Fantasy II songs? Have a great day, you lovely person. Bye!